The kind of visa that you should look at when starting a business in the US would be the E2 visa. The E2 visa allows for individuals or companies to set up in the US and develop and direct a business. Now, there are certain key requirements. One would be that the nationals who are looking to travel to the US and work in the US have to have a certain nationality, they have to be a member of a treaty country. So, for example, the UK and the US have the trade treaty that allows for British nationals to apply for an E2 visa. So there has to be the requisite treaty of trade and commerce between the two countries. They have to look also then at the investment, and there has to be a substantial investment, which isn't a bright line test. So there's no threshold as to how much you have to invest, but it has to be enough to get the business operational. And so that amount could be different for, say, a manufacturing company in comparison to, say, a consulting company, which might not need a lot of investment. But there has to be enough to show that the business can operate as soon as the visa is granted, and that there is an irrevocable commitment and an at-risk investment. So the investment aspect is quite important. You also then have to look at real and operating. So does the business have everything that it needs on a foundational level to operate? So that would be any business licenses that are needed. It could be a business bank account, a taxpayer identification number, a lease. So everything that's needed to show that the company can operate and it is a real operating viable business. Lastly, then you have to look at the individuals who are transferring, who are looking to work for that U.S. entity. It could be the investor himself or herself, and in which case the embassy will look closely at what that person's background is. Is that person able to run this business? Does the person have the qualifications and the background and the history to run a business like this? And if it's an individual applying for a visa to work as an employee for that business, they're looking at what essential skills does that person have to bring to the table. The other key requirement now, given the higher level of scrutiny on visas in general, is to look at, could a U.S. worker perform the role? And if not, how are you able to clearly articulate and describe to the embassy what this person's qualifications are for the job in the U.S.? And so that's the E2 visa.